Hello and welcome again to I Do Canals, and today we're on the Basingstoke Canal. Built in 1794, and it stretched from Basingstoke to the River Wey at Byfleet, where you could then make your way to London. It was built to transport, among other things, food and coal and various other produce. This bridge, this lift bridge, is North Warnborough Lift Bridge. Fully operational, fully automated, up and down barriers, you need a key, and of course, uplifting bridge. About half a mile that way, there are two things of interest. One is the last winding hole where you can turn a boat around if you're bringing one up, and it's the farthest point west that you can go on the canal. Just to the right of that is King John's Castle, and one of the main reasons we're here today to look at. So we'll go and talk about that in a minute. This canal, with the advent of the railways, fell into dereliction, and much of it was utterly in ruin. So Hampshire and Surrey county councils bought the derelict canal, and later on local residents formed the Basingstoke Canal Society, who restored the canal, and they look after it today. And what a fantastic job they did of that. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. And it's like so many of the canals, you get so much nature in one trip. It's just wonderful. Been a few boats up that way. We'll go and take a look at those too. And or you can hire a boat half a mile that way from Galleon Marine. That's the subject of our very, very first video. It's only a little short one. It's about 1.5 minutes long, and maybe a bit longer. But it's before we knew how to use software or camera or microphones or any of all of that. Go and take a look. It's when we first started out. Anyway, come and enjoy the video. Come and enjoy the walk and see what we have to see. So the reason today we're at this part of Basingstoke Canal is this. This is King John's Castle. The signpost says Odiham Castle, but it's King John's Castle. It was built by King John in 1207. He came through the area in 1204 and decided that this was a good spot for this as a stronghold along a defensive line as it lay between Windsor and Winchester. I believe later on the French attacked it, but we'll talk about that soon. The castle has been here some 500 odd years longer than the canal has, and it's still there, although it's not in the best of condition. Anyway, come and have a look. Lots to see. We're going to go inside, we're going to walk around. We did want to put the drone up, but we are inside the exclusion zone of RAF Odiham, which is that way, about 2 miles, and the drone won't even start. Sad, never mind. Anyway, come and have a look. It is an octagonal keep, buttressed at each corner, and in its prime was faced with dressed stone, roofed with lead, richly decorated inside. A circular moat and high bank protected the castle, in addition to the rectangular moats surrounding the inner and outer baileys. This transparent overlay gives you the opportunity to see just what it might have looked like with its roof on and its stone-clad walls. Excavations in the 1980s and historical records indicate there were a number of other buildings attached to the castle, gatehouses, bridges across the moats, and formal gardens. By the mid-15th century, Odiham would probably have been left to go to ruin. The dressed stone was taken and used in buildings in not too far away, leaving the flint core that you see today. Internal spire stairs caused a plane of weakness. When King Richard the Lionheart was killed in France in 1199, the English throne passed to his youngest brother John. Between 1207 and 1214, King John had this castle built here. Built as a stronghold, but apparently used primarily as a hunting lodge. It was defended by a series of deep moats. Careful inspection of the walls on the outside reveals the impressions of cut blocks of stone that clad the entire castle. John's reign was a turbulent affair. Disagreements with the church, the French, and his English barons created much hostility and uncertainty. In 1215, the English barons persuaded King Philip of France, with the promise of the English throne to his son Louis, to pressure John into creating fairer land and taxation laws. Under duress, King John rode from here to Runnymede and put his seal to the Magna Carta, but the barons saw little change of heart from John and called in Louis and his French army to invade England. Louis launched an attack on Odiham in 1216. A siege took place here lasting 2 weeks. When the defenders were allowed to surrender with honour, the French were amazed to find only 13 soldiers present. On King John's death in 1216, his son Henry III became King of England and owner of Odiham Castle. After the French siege of 1216, King Henry III commissioned repairs to Odiham Castle. A document or roll of 1225 records 20 chars of lead being purchased at 27 shillings and 6 pence each from Lincolnshire to mend the roof of the tower. A further 50 shillings worth was later required from Winchester. The roof weighed an impressive 22 tons, supported by the buttresses and a central column. Looking up, you will notice 2 lines of joist holes indicating the different floors. The highest row indicates the upper floor and the lower level of the main floor. Like spokes of a wheel, beams would have radiated out from the central column into these angled holes. In 1236, Henry gave Odiham to his young widow's sister, Eleanor of Pembrokeshire. Eleanor was soon remarried to the French noble Simon de Montfort. He was invested as 6th Earl of Leicester, and together they transformed the castle into their residence. Simon was popular, and his political and religious views caused several confrontations with Henry. In 1265, Simon and his eldest son left Odiham for the last time to lead the second baronial rebellion against the Plantagenet monarch. Simon met his death during the Battle of Evesham, fighting an army led by the future King Edward I. Eleanor was exiled to France, never to return to England. Fortunately, she took with her the household rules, one of the few surviving medieval domestic records. They show how comfortably the de Montforts lived and how generous they were to the poor. 7 years after Eleanor began her exile, Edward I came to the throne, improving the castle during his reign and spending the Christmas of 1302 here. He was succeeded by Edward II in 1307, and his weak rule saw Odiham Castle damaged by Robert Le Uer, I think that's how it's pronounced, E-W-E-R, who along with the Despenser family fell in and out of the favour with the king. The castle had to be repaired after Le Uer was evicted and attempted to retake it by force in 1322. Edward's queen, Isabella, forced the king to abdicate in 1327 in favour of his son Edward III. Edward III was a powerful king. Unlike his father, he soon granted Odiham to his new queen, Philippa of Hainault, spelt Hainault, and it reverted to a hunting lodge. He began the 100 Years' War and founded the Order of the Garter. The fireplace above the upper row of joist holes was a feature of the main bedchamber, but the herringbone tiles are of a later date. The main fireplace shared its chimney with the bedchamber fireplace. The broken ends of the large carved stones that would have held the fireplace hoods are still evident. At the Battle of Neville's Cross in 1346, Edward's army captured David II of Scotland. David spent most of his captivity in the Tower of London, but was also imprisoned at Odiham for 3 years. He was provided with a well-furnished room, good food, wine and other luxuries. Finally, with a ransom of 100,000 marks paid, he returned to Scotland in 1357. By the mid-15th century, Odiham probably was left to go to ruin. The dressed stone was taken, leaving the flint core that you see today. Internal spiral stairs caused a plane of weakness and some walls collapsed. In 1792, the Basingstoke Canal was cut through the outer bailey. In 2008, Odiham Castle was strengthened against further collapse and access improved. The canal wharf was constructed and the waterside enhanced for wildlife. More information for visitors and schools can be found on hants.gov.uk/Odiham-Castle. 30 or 40 yards past these two moored boats, Bramble and Clover 2, there is a winding hole. It is as far as you can go in a motorised boat west on the Basingstoke Canal. It's a big winding hole. You get a 70-foot boat round in there, no problem at all. We saw Bramble go round earlier on. I think Bramble looks about 60 foot. And although this was only their third day on the boat, they did a really good job, I reckon. About all they could have done a bit better was gone a bit further first and then started their turn. But do you know what? First time round, guys, fantastic job. Well done indeed. Hope you enjoyed your trip on the boat. Narrowboating's fantastic. It's so peaceful, it's so quiet and tranquil, and recommend it for all ages. Have a go.
Same way you were going. Keep it pushed that way. It's alright, I have a boat myself.
I think he needed to come a little bit further through, didn't he? If it's not too shallow at the front, you can actually nose into the bank and then just push it around and then just pull back out in reverse.
Yeah, he's done it.
How did they get on?
Oh, they came in the middle. Turn.
Well, hopefully we've pushed all the fish this way for you.
I think that's
Get the bright pot side of it.
I think that's highly optimistic.
Yeah, you've done well.
Not much different in the car, to be fair.
So looking at the wall here, I think there was a lock here. And there isn't much evidence when you just look over at the other side. There's some bricks there, look, just underneath the trees, but everything else has gone. But this wall that runs here, if we go on down through and go past rather than through the nettles and look here, I think this was where a lock gate was at some point. When you look back that way, it just looks like a gate pocket, doesn't it? There's the end of the wall there, and then we get to here. The wall curves around, and there's your cheeks. I think it was a lock. What do you think? So as the sun begins to set, we're going to say goodnight to Basingstoke Canal. Really enjoyed this video. I think King John's Castle, awesome. What a shame you can't go through the tunnel. That would be just the icing on the cake of Basingstoke Canal, wouldn't it? So look, hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. If you have, please leave us a comment. We love comments. We respond to every single one. Don't forget to push the subscribe button and hit the little notification bell at the same time, and you'll get notified of when we upload another video. They're one a week. We usually upload by Thursday, and now we're starting to put a few shorts up too. Hope you like those as well. Cheerio, come again soon. Bye-bye.